Sanjaya said. To him who had been filled with pity, whose eyes were filled with tears and showed distress, and who was sorrowing, Madhusudana uttered these words. The blessed Lord said, O Arjuna, in this perilous place, whence has this impurity come to you, entertained by unenlightened persons, which does not lead to heaven and brings infamy? O Partha, do not yield to unmanliness. This does not befit you. O scorcher of foes, arise, giving up the petty weakness of heart. Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, O destroyer of enemies, how can I fight with arrows in battle against Bhisma and Drona, who are worthy of adoration, rather than killing the noble-minded elders? It is better in this world to live even on alms, but by killing them, we shall only be enjoying here the pleasures of wealth and desirable things drenched in blood. We do not know which is better for us, whether we shall win or they shall conquer us. Those very sons of Dhritarashtra, whom we do not wish to kill, stand in confrontation, with my nature overpowered by weak commiseration, my mind bewildered about duty. I supplicate you, tell me for certain what is better. I am your disciple, having taken refuge in you. Instruct me, for I do not see anything that, even after acquiring on this earth a prosperous kingdom free from enemies and even sovereignty over the gods, can remove my sorrow that is blasting the senses. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus to Hrisikesa, Kursna, Gudakeza, Arjuna, the afflicter of foes, verily became silent, telling Govinda, I shall not fight. O descendant of Bharata, Hrisikesa, mocking as it were, said these words to him who was sorrowing between the two armies. The blessed Lord said, You grieve for those who are not to be grieved for, and you speak words of wisdom. The learned do not grieve for the departed nor for those who have not departed. But certainly it is not a fact that I did not exist at any time, nor you, nor these rulers of men. And surely it is not that we all shall cease to exist after this. As boyhood, youth, and decrepitude are to an embodied being in this present body, so is the acquisition of another body. Therefore, an intelligent person does not get deluded, but the contacts of the organs with the objects are the producers of cold and heat, happiness, and sorrow. They have a beginning and an end and are transient. Bear them, O descendant of Bharata, O Arjuna, who is foremost among men. Verily, the person whom these do not torment, the wise man to whom sorrow and happiness are the same, he is fit for immortality. There is no being of the unreal. The real has no non-existence. Yet, the nature of both has been realized by the seers of truth. But know that to be indestructible by which all this is pervaded, no one can bring about the destruction of this immutable. These destructible bodies are said to belong to the everlasting, indestructible, and indeterminable embodied one. Therefore, O descendant of Bharata, join the battle. He who thinks of this one as the killer, and he who thinks of this one as the one being killed, both of them do not know. This one neither kills nor is it killed. Never is this one born, nor does it ever die, nor, having come into existence, does it cease to be. This one is birthless, eternal, undecaying, and ancient. It is not killed when the body is killed. O Partha, he who knows this one as indestructible, eternal, birthless, and undecaying, how can that person kill, or cause to be killed, whom, as after rejecting worn-out clothes, a man takes up other new ones? Likewise, after rejecting worn-out bodies, the embodied one unites with other new ones. Weapons cannot cut it, fire cannot burn it, water cannot moisten it, and air cannot dry it. It cannot be cut, burned, moistened, or dried up. It is eternal, omnipresent, stationary, unmoving, and unchanging. It is said that this is unmanifest. This is inconceivable. This is unchangeable. Therefore, having known this thus, you ought not to grieve. On the other hand, if you think this one is born continually or constantly dies, even then, O mighty armed one, you should not grieve, for the death of anyone born is certain, and the rebirth of the dead is certain. Therefore, you should not grieve over an inevitable fact. O descendant of Bharata, all beings remain unmanifested in the beginning. They become manifested in the middle. After death, they certainly become unmanifested. What lamentation can there be for them? Someone visualizes it as a wonder. Someone else talks of it as a wonder. Someone else hears of it as a wonder. And yet someone else does not even realize it after hearing about it. O descendant of Bharata, this embodied self existing in everyone's body can never be killed. Therefore, you ought not to grieve for all these beings. Even considering your own duty, you should not waver, since there is nothing better for a Kshatriya than a righteous battle. O son of Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas who come across such a battle, which presents itself unsought and is an open gate to heaven. On the other hand, if you do not fight this righteous battle, then you will incur sin. Forsaking your own duty and fame, people also will speak of your unending infamy. And to an honored person, infamy is worse than death. The great chariot riders will think of you as having desisted from the fight out of fear. And you will fall into disgrace before them whom you had been estimable to. And your enemies will speak many indecent words while denigrating your power. What can be more painful than that? Either by being killed, you will attain heaven, or by winning, you will enjoy the earth. Therefore, O Arjuna, rise up with determination to fight, treating happiness and sorrow, gain and loss, and conquest and defeat with equanimity. Then engage in battle. Thus, you will not incur sin. O Partha, this wisdom has been imparted to you from the standpoint of self-realization. But listen to this wisdom from the standpoint of yoga, endowed with which you will get rid of the bondage of action. Here, there is no waste of effort, nor is there any harm. Even a little of this righteousness saves one from great fear. O scion of the Kuru dynasty, in this there is a single, one-pointed conviction. The thoughts of the irresolute ones, however, have many branches indeed and are innumerable. O son of Piartha, those undiscerning people who utter this flowery talk, which promises birth as a result of rights and duties, and is full of various special rights meant for the attainment of enjoyment and affluence, remain engrossed in the utterances of the Vedas and declare that nothing else exists. Their minds are full of desires and they have heaven as their goal. O son of Piartha, those undiscerning people who utter this flowery talk, which promises birth as a result of rights and duties, and is full of various special rights meant for the attainment of enjoyment and affluence, remain engrossed in the utterances of the Vedas and declare that nothing else exists. Their minds are full of desires and they have heaven as their goal. One-pointed conviction does not become established in the minds of those who delight in enjoyment and affluence, and whose intellects are carried away by it. O Arjuna, the Vedas, meaning only the portion dealing with rights and duties, karma kanda, have the three qualities as their object. You become free from worldliness, free from the pairs of duality, ever poised in the quality of sattva, without desire for acquisition and protection, and self-collected. A Brahmana with realization has that much utility in all the Vedas as a person has in a well when there is a flood all around. Your right is only to act, not to the results. Do not be the cause of the results of action. Do not have any inclination towards inaction. By being established in yoga, O Dhananjaya, Arjuna, undertake actions, casting off attachment and remaining equanimous in success and failure. Equanimity is called yoga. O Dhananjaya, indeed, action is inferior to the yoga of wisdom. Take refuge in wisdom. Those who thirst for rewards are pitiable. Possessed of wisdom, One rejects here both virtue and vice. Therefore, devote yourself to karma, yoga, for yoga is skillfulness in action. For those devoted to wisdom, they become enlightened men by giving up the fruits of their actions. And thus they reach a state beyond evil, having been freed from the bondage of birth. When your mind goes beyond the turbidity of delusion, then you will acquire dispassion for what has to be heard and what has already been heard. When your mind, which has become bewildered by hearing, becomes unshakable and steadfast in the self, then you will attain yoga that arises from discrimination. Arjuna said, O Kasava, what is the description of a man of steady wisdom who is self-absorbed? How does he speak, sit, and move about? The Blessed One said, O Partha, when one fully renounces all the desires that have entered the mind and remains satisfied in the self alone, then he is called a man of steady wisdom. That monk is called a man of steady wisdom when his mind is unperturbed even in sorrow. He is free from longing for delights, and has gone beyond attachment, fear, and anger. The wisdom of that person remains established who has no attachment to anything anywhere, who neither welcomes nor rejects anything, whatever good or bad, when they come across it, and when one fully withdraws their senses from the objects of the senses, just as a tortoise withdraws its limbs, then their wisdom remains established. The objects recede from an abstinent person, except for the taste for them. Even this taste falls away after realization of the Absolute. 4. O son of Kunti, the turbulent senses can violently snatch away the mind of an intelligent person. Even while they are striving diligently, controlling all of them, one should remain focused on me as the Supreme. 4. The wisdom of one whose senses are under control becomes steadfast. In the case of a person who dwells on objects, there arises attachment to them. From attachment grows hankering, and from hankering springs anger. From anger follows delusion. From delusion, a failure of memory. From the failure of memory, the loss of understanding. And from the loss of understanding, one perishes. But by perceiving objects with the organs that are free from attraction and repulsion, and are under his own control, the self-controlled person attains serenity. When there is serenity, all his sorrows are eradicated, for the wisdom of one with a serene mind soon becomes firmly established. For the unsteady there is no wisdom, and there is no meditation for the unsteady person, and for an unmeditative person there is no peace. How can there be happiness for one without peace? 4. The mind which follows in the wake of the wandering senses carries away his wisdom like a boat on the waters. Therefore, O mighty armed one, this wisdom becomes established when all its senses are withdrawn from their objects. The self-restrained man stays awake during what is night for all creatures. That which creatures stay awake for, it is night to the discerning sage. That man attains peace into whom all desires enter, just as waters flow into the sea that remains unchanged even when filled from all sides. Not so one who is desirous of objects. That man attains peace who, after rejecting all desires, moves about free from hankering, without the idea of me and mine, and devoid of pride. O Partha, this is the state of being established in Brahman. One does not become deluded after attaining this. One attains identification with Brahman by being established in this state even in the closing years of one's life.